Good evening, Denver Democrats. Great to be with you tonight. It's my honor to give this award to my friend and colleague, Dan Pabon. I first met Dan when I think I was treasurer of the state party and Dan was vice president or vice chair of the Denver Young Dems. And then, yes, you know, Diane, the Congresswoman DeGette was vice chair of the Denver Young Dems. You see where you got footsteps to go? She's going to be there for a while, so you got to get the House Senate. But you know, Dan then was a rising star. He told me I couldn't call him a rising star because Dan, Democrat of the Year, he shouldn't be a rising star. He is a star. But back then, everyone saw him as a rising star. And he has done amazing things. I remember when he was running for office, I was in the House. I got elected 2 years earlier, and Dan came to me and asked me if I would endorse him. And I was staying out of the primaries, but I told him I could endorse him because at the time I was the youngest legislator in the state, and he's younger than me, so by only a couple months. And I told him I couldn't endorse him because no one can be younger than I was. But luckily, Dan did win his election. And Dan has been an amazing representative for House District 4. You know, being in the minority is not always the easiest and most fun thing. It can be very depressing when you're trying to deal with what we've dealt with the speakership of Frank McNulty. But, yeah, well deserved there. But Dan has brought laughter and life into our caucus. He is someone who is always making a joke, always making people laugh, and always making people feel better. He actually, and it's in the program, he was, for one point, the Republicans gave him the honor of being the Democratic chair of the Democrats for Romney campaign, because he wanted to make sure that when we were talking about health care and Obamacare, how much that was an important thing that Mitt Romney supported because he did it in Massachusetts. And Dan, perfectly, with humor and humility, was able to point that out. While he's always funny and joking, he's also deadly serious and an amazing worker. You know, you all have to look at redistricting and what was going on in the Capitol. Dan put his hours in to make sure that we would get the best maps. He was fighting with the Republicans to make sure that we had actually the kids back 2 congressional seats in our state, to make sure that Congresswoman and Congressman, you will be in the majority when you return in January. I can't think of anyone better to be receiving this award. Dan will be, when we return into the majority, Dan is going to be a strong voice in our caucus, fighting for middle-class families, fighting for Colorado, fighting for Denver, hopefully as he gets some sleep with a new baby on his way. So congratulations on the new baby, and congratulations on this award. Well deserved.
Thank you, Representative Ferrandino, for your kind introduction. I appreciate you taking the time away from your busy schedule getting Democrats elected all over the state, as well as raising your absolutely beautiful daughter, Lila. So congratulations. Congratulations to both you and Greg. Now, as many of you know, my wife and I are expecting a son, Alec, on Thanksgiving Day. And so we can both expect late nights and lots of crying and whining and unexplained tantrums. And well, that's just when we have to spend time with Speaker Frank McNulty. Well, soon to be former Speaker Frank McNulty. Next to the birth of my daughter and my marriage to my wife Heather and my newly arriving son, this is the proudest moment of my life. I am so honored to accept this award because this party embodies so much of everything I believe in. It's even more of an honor to share this night with my family, who I'd like to briefly introduce. my wife Heather, my daughter Maria, my mom Virginia, my dad Richard, my sister Felicia, and my aunt Molly. We run deep in the Pabon family. Thank you. Thank you for always being there for me. I also want to thank those who, again, are pouring our water and clearing our tables. Thank you for doing everything you are to making this happen. You know, Dale Tooley, Denver's former district attorney and this award's namesake, built the most diverse prosecutor's office in the country, and also America's best. As an example, my friend and colleague Beth McCann served under Tooley as a great prosecutor, and now she works with me as an amazing legislator. So she actually knows Dale Tooley and worked for him. Congressman Lewis, no one more than you has played a significant role in the civil rights movement. Thank you for being there with your determination, and thank you for being here tonight with your optimism that our greatest days are still ahead. Yes, let's give them a round of applause. To receive this award and share a stage or a spot, even a small spotlight with you is a dream of mine, so thank you. Now, Congressman, you are an icon today, but 50 years ago, a sitting president called you one heck of an SOB. I don't know if you know this, but it's true. But he also said that you were tough then, and you were only getting tougher, and man, we need that now more than ever. You most inspire me as someone who still believes the role of faith as a force for social change and progress is still alive and well, and so do I. For instance, tomorrow, along with tens of thousands of fellow Democrats, I will follow my Catholic faith and attend Mass. It's a chance for me to step back for a minute and take a moment of prayer and think about who I am and what my public service means. And I don't want to forget the role the Catholic Church and so many other churches have played in the struggle for civil rights. Without the active support of thousands of priests and nuns and faith communities, the farm worker movement, led by Cesar Chavez, would have never prospered the way it has. But now political pundits like to put us into boxes. They say Catholics must be Republicans because we only believe in right to life. Well, I want to challenge that political term, right to life. We can recognize what that term means and that it is linked to other human rights, to the basic goods that every person needs to live and thrive. We have a moral imperative to respond to the needs of our neighbors, basic needs such as food and shelter and healthcare and education and meaningful work. And I worship with many union members. They are folks who volunteer as coaches or in schools or their places of worship, and they can do so because the labor movement helped them earn a decent wage and work hours that allow them to serve their communities. And they are inspired to serve because it is a moral imperative. Like most Catholics, I support Israel. As a democracy, they have allowed gays and lesbians to openly serve in their military, and proven, as Gary Goldwater used to say, you don't have to shoot straight to be straight to shoot straight. How does it go? And I believe in Israel because it is the moral thing to do. My personal conscience allows me to exercise my faith while still believing in a woman's right to choose and that everyone in love should be free to marry. This is the strong separation of church and state, and it's the moral principle that we have to ensure everyone in our democracy has a voice. Now, there's still more work to be done, and it's not just about winning elections. It's about doing right by the people when you do win. We have to address campaign finance reform and the right of public employees to bargain freely. And we must certainly pass and have signed into law the civil unions bill that went down to defeat due to the Republicans' breach of trust. No matter what our faith or no faith, this election has moral consequences. Let's let our diversity be our strength, and let's work to re-elect President Barack Obama and take back the State House. So goes Denver, so goes Colorado, so goes America.